like that. What's up, everybody? Yep. Jumped my intro there because it gave me an extra second. I'm good, Maxwell. How we doing, buddy?
I'm good. My girlfriend just cut her thumb with a knife.
That's not good. Do you need to go provide medical assistance?
No, I think she's okay.
That's good. That's good. What's up? Oh, we've got both the frame boys already in chat. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. But what's up, everybody? Maxed Out Lax podcast. Starting off strong, like always. Back on our regular day.
Trying our best.
Dear Lord, there is an absolute plethora of us to talk about in the world of lacrosse today.
Without even missing a week.
Without even missing a week. Not even a week. We did that. We did our last podcast 5 days ago.
5 days. Yeah, you're right.
We doing good. We doing good, Rolk. Unfortunately, Alabama's season's over.
It's okay. Dominicans is too.
Which I had a question about, and I don't know if you'll know the answer or not. Are they on a provision?
My mouth.
No. I have a way to extend this because I have to fill in our viewers. So, the RMAC has an auto bid to the national tournament. That is the league Dominican plays in. So 4 teams got invited to the playoffs. They were Westminster and Colorado Mesa, along with newcomers Concordia University Irvine, and then the one I'm confused about, Adams State. Was Dominican on a probationary year that they could not make the RMAC playoffs? Because they had a better RMAC win-loss record than Adams. Like, I don't see why Adams State gets that place over them.
So I believe I am correct here. We all know I would never talk out of my butt. I was gonna say ass, but oh well.
Yeah. We're not monetized yet. I don't care.
Yeah, and then I said it anyway. Dominican, because of how everything went down, with it being so late and stuff last year. Late in the sense of like this decision happened almost a year ago, like right in like June or May or whatever. Dominican was independent this year technically. And then this upcoming year, they will be full-time joining the RMAC.
Okay, got it. That makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah. Because Concordia had made this announcement like a whole year earlier, they were like already.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Yes. Very unfortunate. Obviously, the boys had a disappointing season. I think it was a good season in a lot of senses of the term. Like, we still won a handful of games, and they got to see what it was like to play at this next level, a step up from what a lot of the MCLA would be. There are plenty of MCLA teams who can, and do beat Division I, or maybe some low-level Division I's, but Division IIs and Division IIIs on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, when Dominican was MCLA, we were regularly beating Notre Dame de Namur when they were D2.
Do we count that?
Humble brag. Hell yeah, we do. We take what we can get.
Very humble, though.
But I mean, also, you look at a team with the funding of a Liberty or a Clemson or a Vatech. Those teams could run with, I mean, especially out where I am. I mean, I've seen Mars Hill, I've seen Tusculum. A lot of these mid-range kind of D2 Southern schools, MCLA teams in the South may be better than a lot of them. Not all of them, because there are a lot of very, very good ones. But a team like Lee McRae was 2-10. I don't believe they've got better talent and are just playing such a great resume or schedule that a team like Liberty or Vatech couldn't go to the mountains of North Carolina and absolutely hand themselves on a silver platter. I
agree.
I understand there's more layers and levels to MCLA,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a good thing, right? I think that's a great thing, especially in the game of lacrosse. Not all great lacrosse players want to be super serious, head down, do D1, live, eat, breathe, sleep. Some just want to go hang out and play lacrosse with the boys, and
Absolutely.
MCLA gives them a way to do that. And
Yeah.
there are NCAA schools that are slowly becoming that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I take a look at a place like Albany. If I
Yeah.
wanted to just play Division One lacrosse for the love of the game, I would probably want to go play for Scotty Marr. Like,
Yeah.
he is the closest thing in NCAA coaching to the dude we have. So, you
This
know,
is very true.
uh,
Yes,
but
absolutely.
but it's cool that they're getting the opportunity to see NCAA lacrosse in California again, and
Yeah.
I don't see that stopping. Um,
Not anytime soon, for sure. You have Concordia going back. Or, well, not going back. Sorry, I jumped my own gun. Obviously, you
yeah.
have Dominican and Concordia now. And then I saw something the other day. Whittier is throwing together a little like
So that's
petition
but
kind of
that
thing.
I saw that that's not actually not for an NCAA team.
Really? Is it for an MCLA team?
It is. I read it. I read the full whole thing,
I
and
was gonna say, 'cause
they're
the
looking.
Instagram thing that I saw said like for D3 or whatever to get them to return to D3, and I was like, that is
Well,
bold.
that may be a long term plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I know that they were talking about starting to recruit 24, 25, and then their first season of play would be 25, 26.
Okay.
So kind of like, in a way, what a lot of new programs. There's a program just down the road from me, Emory and Henry College, that announced last year, hired their head coach this year. He's been recruiting, and they will go play full D2 schedule next year. So
Gotcha.
that's kind of how I see a lot of teams building out um, what they're doing.
Expansion and like what they want and getting to the next level. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Like kind of just like what we said, it's this game is growing more than we've ever seen. And it's growing more than like you look at it. Sorry, we're texting each other.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I look at the game like 6 years, like there is such a weird line from COVID. And I'm actually gonna go change routes with what I was saying. Lacrosse is blowing up. COVID did not affect that anymore. It was definitely affecting college recruits in those couple of years and all of that. But I'm also seeing it in the kids, right? Like there's plenty of kids now playing still and everything, but like there's these handful of kids who like missed a year or two here and they're not the same player, or it's made some kids better. And then you see kids who you're like, oh yeah, he used to play, but then like stopped because of this, and like he was the best player I ever played with, yada yada yada. And I don't know if it's because it's played outdoors or because to actually play you need a whole bunch of people or something, but like I feel like other sports maybe didn't get hit like that. And in the sense of like being forced to take a little bit of time off and then just not playing your sport anymore
so
altogether.
COVID, from what I hear, really affected emerging markets more so
Mm-hmm.
than Northern California is pretty established at this point.
Yeah.
It's pretty ingrained. You've
Mm-hmm.
still got small pockets where it's still getting popular.
Yeah, as a whole.
Yeah, right. But East Bay, North Bay, San Francisco, South, they've all got established programs in those areas. But like where I'm at right now, with the Bristol program, they started 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So they only had 4 years to try to establish. And I guess when COVID hit, they
Yeah.
lost a lot of participation, especially at younger age groups.
Yeah. Okay.
So it didn't necessarily affect high school right away, but as it trickled, I mean, I've played this entire season with a roster of 16. And like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I don't know if we've seen all the implications yet, because now we're starting to get to those points where the kids who were about to start lacrosse
Mm-hmm.
are moving up into those higher, U12, U14 high school type scenarios. So
Yeah.
it's like, are we gonna see a decrease because we weren't able to get them in when they were 8, right? Are we gonna
Yeah.
start seeing a lot more late bloomers because people aren't gonna be picking it up? Is it going to be 2007 again when I was in the summer of my 7th grade year and I saw a random MLL game on and had to go to Google and find a lacrosse team near me? Like, are we going to start seeing those late bloomers, those late starters who are picking the game up later, but fall in love with it in a different way? It wasn't just, oh, I've been playing lacrosse forever.
Yeah. 1000%. I remember kind of similarly to how I got started, right? My neighbor gave me a stick and it wasn't, he never played. He had a stick for, I don't even know, whatever reason, right? He
Yeah.
was athletic and 4 years older than me. He ended up with a stick somehow, probably from a friend or whatever.
Yeah.
In Illinois, I used the first handful of times I ever touched the lacrosse stick. I used it to play goalie in soccer to give me an advantage against the neighbor who was 6 years older than me, my older brother.
Yeah.
It was a soccer goalie stick,
Hey.
which was super fun.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, cool. What the hell is this? Signed up, started playing in 4th grade, and I was blessed at the time. Well, for one, at the time, Northwestern was in the midst of their dominant, like 06-13 run, I think it was, where they won 7
Yeah.
straight natties. Like
Absurd.
absurd. Go Cats. And then, as well, on top of that, we had the not yet, the Chicago Machine. We're still just down the road in Chicago, back when the MLL was playing, and that was Roto, my big boss. Shout out the boys. Chris Rotelli was on that team. The Lavelle brothers, or at least one of. I think they both were on the team at that point.
I would have to go. That's a
Yeah, right.
pull even for me.
I
Can you name
believe they
the
played
06
together for a
Chicago
second.
Machines roster? No, I can't. I was too busy.
Disappointed.
I was too busy being a huge Jeff Zwicky fan for the San Francisco Dragons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, the nice thing about the MLL, and maybe this is part of the reason that the PLL is doing this now, too, a little bit early, because of the way we saw emerging markets get hit. When you have those city-based teams, like it does draw a love.
Yeah.
Talking about the shit that is California, having one team in SoCal is very hard. And NorCal and SoCal aren't the same.
And there are no redwoods in Southern California. Change
No
them
redwoods.
to the palm trees, change them to something else. Redwoods are
surf.
Northern California.
And not only that, but NorCal and SoCal just don't really like it. Like, there's a big rivalry there,
We don't want to support a Southern California team. I don't care if they
I
are
really
the
don't want to support a
California.
lacrosse team in Los Angeles.
I
That's
mean,
just everything that's like, I know it's like, but like Los Angeles, like, it just doesn't fit.
yeah. Rook, what year did you graduate high school? Because I can't do math. Because that makes sense. I mean, Florida is a huge market now, but Rolk's about my age. So I'd imagine, yeah, he graduated with me in 07.
Or to launch.
Yeah, it was still up and coming back in 07. I mean,
In Florida, absolutely.
You had a couple. I mean, I think Casey Powell, that was right around the time that he was moving down there with the launch and starting all that stuff up.
07 launch were in like when I was in high school though.
That's true.
Launch was like, yeah.
We get it, Freeze. You're
How
old.
long? when did IMG really start becoming big in the lacrosse world? I guess on top of that, when were they even created?
That's what I just Google
Um,
searched. Watch your language, Freeze. We're a family-friendly chat.
You have to. Well, I guess he's talking about you. So
Yes. Boys lacrosse program. Overview, athletic development, coaching staff. Yeah, I don't want any of this. The fact that they have so many dang teams at IMG for lacrosse.
How many lacrosse teams do they have? Do I even want to know?
IMG Academy Lacrosse provides customized programs for prospective student athletes grades 6 through 12. So I imagine they have everything from middle to high school. Oh, there we go.
2014-ish.
We got our
All right, Risky.
we got our Florida
Yeah,
our Florida
actually, that's why he
lacrosse
knows.
expert in here. What's up, Chuck? But
Man, I thought it was before that.
Me too, but I'm old as hell. No, because the launch didn't come until after the original 4 expansion.
Yeah.
Because it was the Chicago Machine,
to
the
Ohio.
Charlotte Hounds, then it was the LA Riptide, and then
you're talking that. Yeah.
And then the San Francisco Dragons. Those 4 markets came in first. And then when San Francisco and LA kind of popped,
there's a bigger gap in between there. There's a bigger gap in between there because for a long time it was just those teams on the East Coast, and then the Charlotte Hounds came back. They added that Georgia team.
The Atlanta Blaze.
Thank you. And then they added the Launch. And I want to say maybe there was one other one too. Well, Chicago moved to Ohio, obviously. I think I'm forgetting one. But okay, so that would make sense if it kind of lined up then with that Florida Launch and stuff timeline, which probably would have been around 2014-ish, yeah.
So in 2006 they added LA, Denver, Chicago, and San Francisco.
But how long? But San Francisco and LA only lasted 3-4 years.
Yeah.
That was in 2006. By the time I think I moved out here in 2009, I don't know if the Dragons existed.
They didn't. They folded, and then that next November of 2013, the Nationals folded, who were a bunch of moves away. They folded, and that's how we got the Launch, because they bought the roster and everything.
Yep.
They inherited the Nationals roster.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Blaze came in 2016. In 2018, Rochester relocated to Dallas. And now you know why it's so hard to be.
I forgot about that.
And now you know why it's so hard to be a professional lacrosse fan.
They relocated to Dallas for a year, and then COVID, and then they died.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot, and which is crazy because the Rattlers were once sick, and Rochester, like, what?
I mean, here was the problem with the MLL. You were competing directly with summer lacrosse. And in most areas, kids are gone Saturday and Sunday playing lacrosse. So, like, it was hard for them to get audiences. I remember going to a Dragons game in probably 06, 07. And it was super fun. You know, Sling It was out there. California Lacrosse Company was out there. And it was just everybody in the lacrosse community came together and watched it. But it wasn't routinely drawing an audience because we had tournaments. We had things on Saturdays that wasn't allowing us to drive all the way out to Golden Gate Fields. You know? Did you just give yourself brain freeze, or do you hate Golden Gate Fields that much?
I was laughing at Golden Gate, that Kezar Stadium.
Yep, that's the one they played all the Dragons game in. That's
Yeah.
where Greg Gurenlian started his journey to be the best professional face-off
Greg the
man in
Beast.
history.
Speaking of Kezar, I miss those college games they did out here. Battle of the West. I don't even remember what the hell they were called.
They still do them in different areas, but A, it's hard and expensive to get teams to California. B, it's hard to get field space in California, to be honest.
And especially then they have to pay, like, they're not getting some nice discount.
Yeah, but like the Notre
with
Dame
that.
Cornell game was played at a high school in Connecticut, I believe. Or Long Island, maybe?
The Notre Dame Duke. No, the Notre Dame Cornell game. Yeah, it was on Long Island.
So, like,
Yes.
they're still doing it. I think you just need coaches who
Oh,
have...
great. You're in New York on Long Island. They don't know what lacrosse is. Sorry.
Squirrely Jack's coming in trying to get me to go do a Florida lacrosse tournament in January.
It'll be humid.
It would
It'll
be.
fun.
You
But
should get
it's not like it's not humid in Delaware in the middle of summer when all these other tournaments happen.
It's true.
We should do a bracket next week.
Sorbet, appreciate your first time check. Duke and Denver was also played at a high school.
What's up?
Oh,
nice.
So, yeah, they're getting out of there. It's true. It is not August or September, so it would be better. But it's still Florida, and y'all's weather, while nice, is humid as hell for us native people who try to come down there, particularly Californians who don't know what humidity is.
That concept is lost on us.
So how'd the last week or the last 5 days go with O'Dowd, man?
It's been good. We had 3 games last week. We lost to last Tuesday, a week ago yesterday. We lost by 1 to Francis Parker. They are a small. Actually, I don't know what size they are. They're a Division II school from San Diego.
Oh, nice.
They're the reigning Division II San Diego champs. Don't quote me on that. Someone said that. When we were talking about them, I have not validated that information. They're solid. They have this kid Mason who's committed to Loyola. He's a Fogo midfielder.
Oh, you were telling me about that kid.
He's good. He's legit. They had a really good D-pull who I asked him, "What are you doing?" Because we've only heard about one kid on your team committed. And he basically said he has no idea. He's thinking club ball. I said, no hate.
Okay.
I can't say shit about that.
Love me some club ball.
Absolutely, yes, coach. But he was stick skills, athlete, positioning, like he was sick. Not the fastest D-pull you've ever seen, but like if you have all the other stuff, it's easy to train a little bit of speed.
Yeah. I can get you faster.
Hell yeah.
To a point. You can't train ridiculous speed that's just natural.
No, but y'all got me faster.
Hell yeah.
Y'all turned me into a competent Dodger.
Yeah.
And I immediately sent his name to Bobby post game. Like I got his name from their coaches and stuff, and sent Bobby his info.
They're actually back to back San Diego
I wanted to say back to back,
championship.
but I wasn't even sure about the one, so I didn't want to double down on that.
According to the Francis Parker Boys Varsity Lacrosse Instagram page, they're the CIF D2 champions in 22 and 23.
That's what I thought. And we lost 7-6. We had the ball
all day, every day of the week.
15% of the game, if I mean, like, I think they won 99% of the faceoffs. I'm not gonna say 100 because you can't. Although he very well may have won every single faceoff. And I think they had the ball maybe 80% of the game, and we lost by 1. And it was a great game. So much fun. Night after, we played University, and my boy Britton Stewart, one of my advanced bosses, and they're awesome. Jimmy Bitter is one of their assistant coaches.
Solid.
Um, very solid.
So, quick side story. I was
Please.
helping out a young coach that I've made connections with out here. He's just going to be graduating from Tusculum, and it's going to be his first year coaching club lacrosse for my new organization. So I had to tell him, "Hey, don't be nervous or starstruck if you see somebody you looked up to on that sideline across from you." Because he didn't realize, like you just said, Jimmy Bitter is, an NCAA great at North Carolina, right? North Carolina. And
Yeah, both the Bitters went there.
Yeah, and you're gonna see pros still on the sidelines coaching travel teams and stuff. So don't get intimidated just because this guy decided he wanted to coach a youth program. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason he's here. Prove why you're better.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, coach.
Thank you for the reminder, Squirrely Jacks. Everyone go follow so we can start having ads and make tiny bits of money off this.
Yeah, Soren, go follow, dude. Come on, SoCal guy.
Do
You
the
chatted.
follow buttons.
I need a follow too.
Follow buttons. But no, so anyways, yeah, Jimmy Bitter and your boss over at Advanced, did you show them why you're the future?
Yeah, we did. We had more shots than them. We had pretty even on possession. Man, we got to finish games though. We were up. Did we talk about this on Friday? I think we did. We didn't?
I don't know if we talked about the end.
We were up 2 with, hell yeah, Rolk, smash that button.
If not, Rolk smash. Just saying.
Watch out. We were up 2 with 3.5 minutes left. And our best lacrosse skilled player decided to, let's go, Soren. Appreciate you, kid. Not kid, you're my age. We're the same age. I'm around way too many kids.
Right.
Just force a habit. It's okay. He was an advanced coach as well. He played at Chico State.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. From SoCal.
I probably pissed you off with my defense once or twice.
Dude, we definitely played them because he's this same exact graduating class as me.
Okay, then I definitely have scouted him.
Yeah. Max was the DC at Dominican for my undergrad 4 years. If you didn't know that, Soren. We were up 2 with 3.5 left. Our best skilled attackman beats a pressure and ends up basically right on the crease alone on that right up in front of GLE righty spot. And just lazy, kind of fake high, sidearm trying to sling it high. And Will Noble, the university goalie, who's one of my advanced club team goalies, baller, reads shit on the inside
Too good for that.
You gotta get him moving. He's good for that. Just boop, stuff the absolute living daylights out of him. They clear it. I think they went down and scored right there, cut it to 1. Or maybe this was later in the game too, because then they tied the game with 14 seconds left. University has basically 2 offensive players. Number 16, Finn McHugh, who is very good and is going to go to Cal next year, play for Nettie Webb, which is awesome. We can root for that now. We're fine with that now.
I've never been a big Cal Berkeley guy, so
fair. I've always been indifferent, and I've always gotten along pretty well with Ned. I don't know what your relationship might be different with Ned.
Ned was the one. Ned was originally the one who I was talking to when I first decided to come to Dominican.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have a fine relationship with Ned.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's a good dude. Good coach. He gets results. And then they have this kid, Will Stiegel, number 3. Stiegel, for any of my other players who are listening, Stiegel's my favorite player I've coached probably. This kid is just a dog, and he's kind of skinny, but he just gets it done. He doesn't care about contact. He's won multiple games for us through advance and stuff. He's on exactly, Soren. Well said. We should can we pin that one as well? But Stiegel is a dog. They both scored. Well, so Finn tied the game, I think it was. And then they won the face-off and got the ball. Got a really good look from Finn to Will, cutting backside on the crease. He hit one of our defensemen, like, right in front of him. Hit it off his back. It goes out of bounds. They win the chase. And then they proceed to almost immediately throw it away. Which, great. Unfortunate for them, but great. We bring it down. Very questionable clear, but we made it work. Get the ball over. We call timeout. And we set up what we're going to do in our main offense. Who we want going, where we want the look, yada, yada, yada. But I also like, especially with where I don't like to give these guys too much. As a player, I never wanted too much right there. I didn't even always like a timeout at all in these kinds of situations.
Sorry, you get that from me. Players got to make plays. Yeah. And I believe in coaching your playmakers that, hey, if you know what the situation is, get the ball in your stick, go make a play.
And that's exactly what fucking happened because, well, the guy who we were saying we wanted to dodge with anyway, Jacob Glasgow, number 15, I'm pulling him onto my North Bay 25s combined with East Bay. We're taking him to 3 recruiting tournaments this summer. I'm so psyched. He 2-3-1 top lefty wing from goalie's perspective. Top lefty wing. With our mirror, dodges down the alley. 2 slides come to him. He like tucks it, spins, gets through both those slides, is right next to the crease to then go to X. Like tucks it again, spins through like 2 more guys. Like I swear to God, it felt like all 6 of them had slid to him at this point. And we're just sitting there like, dude, what are you doing? You keep sliding through, spinning and trying to beat more slides. What is happening? He ends up at X, and in all the confusion, every single one of their defenders went to recover to the front of the crease. No one picked him up. He's at X alone. Oh, cool. Pushes righty wing. Well, boop, boop, game over.
Nice.
Man, it felt so good. I love Britain, but I had to beat him. And well, honestly though, like, he threw a fake. If our other guy had thrown a fake when he got stuffed, we go up 3, and it's a different story. Like, I understand, yeah, you shouldn't have shot it, but you're also our best lacrosse skill player alone on the front of the crease.
Yeah, you're gonna shoot
Put the ball in the fucking net.
Yeah.
No, we won. Who cares? It was awesome. We took a little picture after the game that Joe Bro was so happy. Whoa, something's on our stream screen, Jack.
Oh. Jax is taking care of it.
Hell yeah, she is. Fucking legend.
Shout out to the
Friday night we had senior night against someone who's not much of a team, unfortunately, in Washington. 21-0.
Oof.
It was senior night. Everyone scored. We were scoring in our offense and no position switches. Like, pulls were scoring on a fast break, give and go, or like, you know, like all legitimate things. And they tried to get, it was 9-0 at the end of the first quarter after playing our game. And absolutely Rolk, best tech support without a doubt. In the second quarter, they tried to get stupid and do shit like that and kind of just play by themselves. And we had like 3 or 4 missed behind the back shots in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Joe and I and Ben and James, like, we were like, yo, you need to fucking stop, play our game, and we'll score, and everyone on this team will score. They did that the second half. You know, it was 9-0. It was 10-0. It was 9-0 in the first, 10-0 into the second. We only scored once in that second quarter. Rest of the game, it was like 100, run our offense, and we just had goal after goal. And it's just unfortunate, you know? Like, it's a tough league to be in.
Yeah.
At times. Monday, we played 4 games in a week there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a tough, and right at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's a tough stretch.
League playoffs start tonight.
Are you guys in?
Yeah, we play Piedmont.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 versus 3. And Berkeley plays Washington.
Oh.
So Monday night was
No.
Friday night was senior night. Monday night, thank you. We played SHC, Sacred Heart Cathedral, the one in the city.
Yep.
And we beat them. It was 9-6. It was never that close, one of those games. But
Yeah.
again, where I'm still just like, yo, like, let's put this team away. We're up 3, we're up 4. Like, give me 1 or 2 more, and it's just over.
Yeah.
One of my sophomore attackmen, around 4 minutes left in the game, in a 9-5 ball game, got stuffed on a great look right on the crease. He just quick stick turned it right into the goalie's stick.
Goalies make plays too. I know you as an attackman only don't like that, but we do make plays.
You guys do. This goalie, not so much.
Yeah. A blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Exactly.
If we hit that, oh, there we go. That look, I feel so official right now.
Right?
It's our little,
That's
Twitch streamer.
That's live tech support right there. Best in the business.
I like how she covered up your face too the whole time, not mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously we gotta sell the cute one.
If he had scored that and we went up 10-5, I don't think it ends up being a 3-goal game. I think we probably even put in a few more and it ends up, 11-5 or 12-5.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like the game was, more of like a 7-8 goal game compared to a 3-goal game.
Yeah. We got to
your turn.
We only played one because we're only playing like 8 games this year. But we got to avenge our week 1 loss to one of the local high schools, and they play with just their high school, and the head coach of that team is going to be the head coach for my rising team, my freshman and sophomore team, with the Thunder. So we ended up getting that one, and it was a 3-goal game.
Nice.
Where I don't feel like it should have been that close, but it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't.
Yeah, I just told you the same thing.
It was one of those games we couldn't clear the ball to save our lives. We were giving them a lot of extra help and chances, and then they had some injuries, so they weren't at full strength. And it was just one of those games where it's like, hey, we came out with the win. I'm happy. That's all we can do sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. Everybody but one of my offensive guys had a point, at least. So, like, I think of our 13, 11 were assisted.
Hell yeah.
Like,
That's awesome.
I can't be mad at that. My goalie ended up making, like, 15 to 17 saves. And, yeah,
let's go.
This program is over 500 for the first time anyone can remember. So
well, that'd be progress if you ask me.
Sitting at 4-3, we got one more on Saturday.
Nice.
To see if we can lock in that above 500, or if we're gonna finish right at. Either way, successful season. Not upset by it.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But here's to hope. At 5-3, I'd be real happy with 5-3. But yeah, so the NLL was absolutely ridiculous this weekend. But we're really gonna follow one story, and that is the story of the Rochester Nighthawks.
It was electric.
You
mean the story of Connor Fields?
Yes, and his rise to the MVP ballot. But Rochester, as we talked about on Friday, had a 3% chance to make the playoffs. Friday night, they handled their business. They picked up a very good win over, I believe, the Riptide. Don't quote me on that.
No, it was Philadelphia. It was the
No,
Wings.
Philly was Sunday.
Oh.
It was Georgia. So they had a 1-goal win against Georgia. A real hard fought game back and forth. And this actually hurts Georgia, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But then...
Didn't they lose twice this weekend?
No, they only played once.
Hmm.
The only team that played twice this weekend was Rochester. But then Rochester needed a bunch of help. And they got all of it. As San Diego almost doubles up Vancouver. Albany gets off their schneid and beats the Riptide. Calgary beats Panther City. And Toronto somehow escapes Saskatchewan with a 1-goal win. If Saskatchewan had gone on and won that game, that's it for Rochester. But the number one seed doing number one seed things. Buffalo absolutely decimated Las Vegas on Tucker Out Lymphoma Night. That brought us to Sunday. A win for Rochester, and they're in. A loss would have put the New York Riptide in. Rochester beat Philly 12-3. Philly only scored 3 goals in an entire NLL game.
Yeah, it's bad.
So that set the stage for an absolutely electric playoff field.
Yes.
You've got 1 versus 8, which is going to be the juggernaut that is the Toronto Rock, against this plucky Rochester Nighthawks team that doesn't necessarily know how to die. Maybe I'm going to start calling them the Rochester Cockroaches, because you can't get rid of them. They refuse to die. And then on that side of the bracket, you have the Bandits versus the Swarm.
Yeah.
The quarterfinals are single elimination.
Mm-hmm.
So on this side of the bracket, please, for the love of God, give me the Bandits versus the Rock in the semifinals. Because both of the crowds, it's literally like a 30, 45-minute drive between the two stadiums. Like, in terms of TV, let's hype this up. That series in the semifinals would be electric.
Yes.
And then on the other side of the bracket, you get the Seals hosting Panther City LC, which, sorry, Panther City. That should be a pretty solid dub for the Seals, hopefully. And then the most interesting game. You have this really young Albany Firewolves team, really electric offense when they're clicking, against the old guard of the Thunderbirds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this could be the most potential for this single game elimination to come to fruition. Because you've got guys like Cody Jamieson, Randy Stotts, a lot of these guys who have kind of done everything in the NLL against a bunch of rookies who are looking to prove themselves. And if the old guard can be like, hey, we're just going to go get this one. We'll worry about the semifinals if we get there, and go balls to the walls, they could beat Albany very easily. But on the reverse, if Albany just lets the excitement turn into joy and passion for the game, they could also win. Interesting kind of thing to look at in this game, because this is the only game and it's on Sunday afternoon. Every other game is on Saturday evening to night. They did a really good job of not having 2 of these games in the same time slot. But Doug Jamieson is the goalie for Albany. And if there's one guy who's going to have seen shots from most of this Thunderbirds offense for most of his life, it's Dougie Jamieson. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
you said the young guns, and I was like, except one.
except one, and that's the Dougie boy.
And it's a damn good position to have it to be your fucking old head, like seen them before,
Come
been
on,
through
kids.
this.
I will carry. It's like that picture of Master Splinter leading the baby turtles.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I don't even think Dougie Jamison's that old.
It's probably not. He's just actually been around box a little bit.
Well, and he's been the Haudenosaunee goalie since like he was born, basically.
Mm-hmm.
How old is he? But I think this race for MVP is gonna get really interesting, because you've got a lot of guys who could win it, and Doug Jamieson is only 30. How is that possible?
20. Wait. According to their roster, he's 27.
Oh, I read his number, not his age. That's my bad.
Nice. So we're even more wrong, though.
But, I mean, he's 27, but he's been in the NLL for 6 years.
Yeah, he was drafted by New England in the 2016 entry draft. Before that, he won 3 Minto Cups.
Yeah. So
Goalie of
like
the year, yeah, dude.
he's been getting shot on by all of these guys forever.
For a little while.
Just
a little while.
Hashtag JUCO lacrosse too. He was a face-off guy at Onondaga.
With hands, man. Goalie's got to have them hands.
That's exactly right. But no, I think, right, see, obviously, Nick Rose, I think, is going to be in conversation. He has been absolutely spectacular this year when it comes to leading the Toronto Rock to being the best team in the league, right? You've then got the scoring leader, Josh Byrne. But I feel like you may get some votes taken away because his teammate, Dane Smith, is the first player in NLL history to score or tally 100 assists in a year. Yeah. Dane Smith's ridiculous, right? But then you've got Connor Fields, who I think you've got to give some credit to the fact that he tied a Superman cape on his back and led Rochester to the playoffs. So you got an interesting debate there. It's going to be an electric playoffs no matter what. Like, we have been gifted so much just absolutely amazing lacrosse. Like,
it's everywhere you can. It's everywhere you go if you want to, depending on what kind of lacrosse you're into.
And no matter what, like, yeah, you've got something to look forward to.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Speaking of which, we may have gotten to watch the best lacrosse game of the year, possibly
recent years
ever. Q's Virginia.
The one game I will sorry because this reminded me. 2016 national championship. I think will forever hold that spot in my head.
Is that the Costa
UNC
Beal?
Maryland.
Oh, okay.
UNC Maryland in overtime. That fucking Burnlore save like this, diving, and then Clute just says, "Give me game." Steps in from the point. That game was so good, dude. I love overtime championship game. Come on. And I only mainly say that if UVA won this past weekend, I'd probably be saying this is the greatest game ever, you know? But yeah, dude, holy guacamole, man.
Like there is.
Like when
it's hard to start, but this game had a little bit of everything for everybody, right?
Except
what? What you got?
Except bitch ass number 22, big old goose egg. Suck it. Not
you,
you,
find
I was
find
just
wins.
shocked.
Find wins in your losses. I get it, Maxwell. Schroeder played a hell of a game.
Showing me why he was given a Toraton watch list, I guess, you know?
Kastner wasn't
down.
guarding him.
Oh, it was
Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Because Schroeder and
I
Spallina.
thought Kastner was guarding.
No,
they played against each other in high school and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
and they have a history. So I mean,
big one. Yeah,
I would be willing to bet Lars Tiffany just looked at him and was like, "You want it?" You know, trusting his guy. But like, I think the biggest story for me outside of Spallina and his goose egg was the scary fact that Syracuse still put up 18 goals.
Yeah. Which they haven't been able to do at all without him in any sense of the term. It was incredible.
Your number one goes goose eggs. I'm sure Joey Spallina was dancing just as hard in that locker room as everybody else because he's like, cool, shut me down. How's that L feel? Like, I like, Owen Hiltz led the way. I thought he had a masterful game scoring early and then turning into a passer.
Changing his game, yeah.
Like, and then I think the biggest thing and the biggest reason it was okay that Joey Spallina was, goose eggs was Finn Thompson and Sam English stepped the hell up on that right side. I was rewatching the game today, and that
two-man game.
Yeah,
Virginia shorty's got to be careful.
Yeah, they
got exposed.
Yeah, they were just two-manning those two righties, and that's with double polling the midfield. Like,
what the hell was I don't know if it was Paul. I don't remember which Paul or Quint which one was doing this game. I'm not gonna call him Finn Thompson anymore. I'm gonna call him Slip Thompson.
Yeah, it was.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was masterful on picks. Like, what can you say, man? That catch and just low to low off like right around.
Yeah, and like
right in the bottom corner too, like
tucked it in there. And that's, I mean, you saw a lot of that. A lot of the shots from both sides were picture perfect, pinging the corner, pinging off the pipe into the other side of the net, tucking nicely. It's like turn down service coming in and tucking you in once you get into bed, man.
And against Mark, you have to be like that. Let's talk about Nunes, who figured it out, but for a second there was at 15 straight goals without making a save when you pull his Duke game into the this game. He ended up locking it in, and they need him clearly in the transition sense, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 8 straight goals, but he finished this game. So he had
so good.
He had 3 saves at halftime. And I think those 3 saves were able to give him confidence, like, hey, they're going to stick with me. I need to be me. Right?
Yeah.
At halftime, and he came out, he made 12 second half saves. Right? And that, honestly, if he hadn't have been able to step up like that, that becomes a big issue. So, like, hats off, Matty Nunes. Like, but now you need to play like this because Virginia has a real short turnaround, and they get Notre Dame.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second, too, because I just want to talk about number 1.
Shelly, do your thing.
Oh, my Lord. He listened to our podcast on Friday.
He did.
That's all I will say. I'm taking all the credit. I think we both agreed in calling him out and saying, yeah, obviously you're one of the best attackmen in this class. But what have you done this year? You've had a very average year doing what you're expecting to do. And then he just goes, hey, what's up? Here's a 9-piece against fucking Syracuse.
Well, and the impressive factor to me is he did it shooting 67%. He did it
from deep, too. It wasn't
he did it in flow.
Corners.
It was, I've got the shot on this. Go. Okay. And he put it in the back of the net. Like, he had a hell of a game. He was getting everyone involved. I will say, I think this was a huge opportunity for Griffin Schutz to be a difference maker. And he wasn't.
not so much. And I would almost say the same thing. I thought McCabe struggled a little bit too. I mean, he had that look at the end of the game where if he just catches and shoots that, he's getting a good shot off and on a screen shot. Except he tried to like catch it split, and that pull stripped him in Q1.
Yeah.
I thought there was a couple other times where he dropped a pass, threw one away, and didn't score on a couple looks that he should have. I thought Cormier almost looked a little bit off. I saw him hit like 4 pipes on ones that he normally doesn't hit pipe on. And maybe that's the Will Mark effect, you know?
Well, and
knowing you have to try and be perfect against a goalie like that.
I'm gonna step up to protect my lefty Canadian here. What more do you want than 4-1?
I'm not saying I want more. I was just surprised.
I will say, he was only shooting 31%, but 4-1 is still like. My issues were not with their combined 19 points from their attack. I don't think that's where Virginia lost this game. And even Anthony Gobro had a really good game. 58% on the day, tacked in an assist.
And shout out I don't even remember the kid's name. I think he's a freshman. He came out hurt for a little bit.
Tommy Colucci.
Thank you. I wanted to say a T with
a senior.
Something. Oh, he is?
Yeah. I think he may be a transfer.
Well, I should shut the fuck up.
But no, and I mean, at this point, do you have to start game planning for Billy Dwan to be crashing the crease? Because it kind of feels like that. I don't think this is the first time he's collected a ground ball and put it back in on the crease in an offensive set. And he did it this time to tie the game at 17.
And he did it over his head, not looking at the cage.
I'm going to fling this way.
I sat there and watched that, and I was just like, that's how, well, what are you going to do? Oh, well, go get another one.
Yeah. And like,
you almost like, there are guys pulls where you kind of do have to plan for them offensively like that, like Jake Pacino. Like, you're sliding to him real quick. Like, he's someone you have to be ready for. He has great stick skills, he's great field awareness, and he has a knack for finding the goal as a defenseman.
Well, and that wasn't even the only one. You had Matt Wright score on a back pipe feed where the long pole catches it on the back pipe and just wraps it around Nunes. Like, these poles are scoring from what are traditionally attack, places on the field, and it's just, it's separating Syracuse a little bit, right? They got 2 goals from a pole, they got a goal from a defensive midfielder, and they got an assist from their goalie. Like,
that's production.
It's depth of scoring at an alarming rate. And to the same effect, Ben Ware had another one. Joey Terenzi had one. So both of these teams score that way, and I think it's just it's fun to point out the evolution of the game, if you will. Right?
Yes.
And I heard this talked about a little bit on the tailgate and a little bit of but the Syracuse swag is back a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. And it's never been at Q's when you look at it's never been how it is at Maryland where, John Tillman's going to get them through this game. John Tillman's going to call the perfect timeout and draw up the perfect play. It's our playmakers are going to go make a play. That's how it was when the Gay brothers were there. You got the ball in the stick of one of the pals and you follow their lead. They're going to lead us to promised land. Right? And they kind of lost that for a while. They didn't have that guy, right?
Yeah.
And, you still had...
They thought they did a couple of times.
They thought they did, and you still had it up through, Cody Jamieson and even, like, not Jordan Wolf. What was the attackman that followed? Kevin Rice.
Oh, I loved Kevin Rice.
Right? So you still saw...
Atlanta Blaze.
You still saw pitter-patters of it here and there, but then they lost it. And they feel like this game was them kicking down the door and saying, hey, Cuse is back, right?
Yeah.
That swag is back.
Mm-hmm.
Because
definitely a little bit of that.
even when the top superstars held scoreless,
Mm-hmm.
there was no worry. There was no, oh God, what do we do now? Right? It was, oh hey, I think you guys forgot about me. My name's Owen Hiltz. And
I'm only a junior.
yeah, right? Like I know I get overshadowed here a little bit, but can you put some respect on it?
Remember who I am. Yeah, that was insane.
But this did.
Us realizing Jack Boyden hasn't. Them saying that Jack Boyden has another year on that broadcast.
Fucking scary. He's only gonna get better. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he gets a year of this, and then next year, in theory, he'll probably get to go play attack with him, Millen, and whatever other 5-star recruit they have, or whoever's on the bench ready to go.
Lefty. It's whoever their next lefty up is.
Yeah, it'll have to be. They definitely have one too.
If they don't, they'll go find some Canadian.
They'll get one.
Where the transfer portal at?
13. So, what's his cool?
Roy Colsey.
Dude,
or
he
Roy
had
Colsey's
a real
son. I don't think.
Yeah. Matt, maybe.
Ryan. I'm looking it up. Ryan Colsey.
Nice. There we go. He had a nice little game, especially late in the game there. I thought he had a couple big goals for Virginia there.
Tuck 2 in was honestly the only reason I won't say that their midfield was completely inept in this game.
I agree. I don't think Boyden did very well, and I mean, he's running through the box mostly now. So
Boyden had an assist. Griffin Schutz had a goal. Terenzi had a goal. Will Corey had a goal. Chase Yeager had a assist. You know, like.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at it, Stevens had 4 points. Finn Thompson had 3. Leo had 3. English had 3.
Yep.
There's 4 midfielders right there with 3+ points. And then you tack on an 8 from Hiltz and 3 more from Moulet. That's the game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, your attack putting up a 19-point game is fucking huge, but if you're only going to get another trickle of a few from your midfield, it's not super sustainable.
Yeah, both teams did have 11 assists, though.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It wasn't so much I'm going to win this game, it was we're going to win this game, and
that's both over 50% for both of those teams. I got 2 more things I want to touch on this game before we move on.
No, I knew this game was going to be the game of the weekend, so we're going to spend as much time as we want talking about this game.
First thing first, still about the game. Game of runs, and they showed the graphic, but it was like the start. It was the back and forth, and then like Virginia went on like a 4-0 run, and then Syracuse went on like a 7-0 run, and then Virginia went on a 4-0 run, and then they went on a separate 4-0 run because there was halftime or a quarter or whatever, and then Syracuse went on another 4-0 run, and then it was back and forth, but like multiple different periods in that game where each team was on a solid chunk of goal run without the other one scoring for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And could end at an 18-17 game where you have that, it's incredible. And it's exactly like, it reminds me of that, the game from the Ivy game from the other week or whatever, where it was like, whereas they were up like 2-0, and then they went on like a 10-goal run and it was 2-2, and then the other team went on a 10-goal run and it was like 12-10. The Cornell Penn or someone the other way, I don't remember.
It was one of those Ivy games.
Yeah, but like, a game runs, man. Lacrosse is never ending. It is constant. The team scores a couple. It does not matter. It is so easy to score so many goals so quickly.
Yeah. And like, it kind of shows it. I mean, if we look at Cone, Mullen, and Gabriel, we're all above 50% in this game. face-off wise. That's how even it was. Like,
Crazy.
so yeah, Gabriel took 26 and 115. Cone took 25 and 114. Mullen won 14 of 17, and poor Thomas Colucci was 3 for 12.
Let's go.
But he did look like he was playing banged up and he was hurt.
Yeah.
And I want to say this game ended on like a 3 or a 4 goal run for Syracuse.
Yeah. Pretty sure it did.
Like, absolutely.
I mean, at least a 2 goal because they tied it at 17 and then won it. But I want to say it was like a 3 goal lead. 17-15 for UVA sounds about right. If not, even like, yeah, it's 17-14 like you were alluding at. But yes.
And like, that's one of the reasons I say it was one of the greatest lacrosse games ever played. Like,
it was incredible.
It was back and forth. It was punch for punch. I mean, I think I texted you.
We were texting constantly that whole time.
Yeah, I think I texted you, though, right after Syracuse scored the 18th goal. And there was like 34 seconds left. And I was like, I'm expecting Virginia to come tie this game.
How many more goals are we going to see in 34 seconds?
Yeah, like, I'm like, I'm pretty convinced this isn't over yet.
Right? No, I was watching. It was a nice day on Saturday over here in the city, and I was outside watching it for a little bit, and then moved inside at one point, and Syracuse scored a handful in a row, and I was like, I need to move back outside. I didn't move back outside. I stayed where I was, and Virginia lost. So it's my fault. I'll take the blame. I'll call Lars real quick.
You gotta apologize
and tell him that I jinxed it, because that's on me. I know I need to be better. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. But that's also not true because I am superstitious. I just love that's a great quote.
That is great. I love that quote. So
what you got?
This pushed Syracuse up to 4 in the media poll. And it only dropped Virginia to 5 thanks to Maryland's loss to Hopkins.
Yeah.
So
it's so hard.
This is ridiculously competitive. Because
Denver and Yale are both sitting with 2 losses, but Yale just dropped a spot this week.
Yeah.
And they won.
Yeah, I don't know how things work. I'm pretty sure some of the media just throw darts at a dartboard and the order they hit things in.
I don't know if I agree with Maryland being at number 7 when you have Cornell, Yale, Penn State, and Georgetown all below them. Cornell has the same record. Yale's 11-2. Penn State and Georgetown are both 9-3. Which is better than Maryland.
Well, and the funny part is Yale has lost to Penn State.
Yeah, that's right. And not only a loss, but a
pretty substantial ass whooping, if I remember correctly.
A loss.
Right?
Where is it? Oh, no. That one was 15-14. What is the one we're thinking about? It was like 20 to
Cornell.
But
right,
these
sports rankings never make sense. They make about as much sense, Rolk, as the AEW rankings
Penn
do.
State is being both the teams ahead of them, and then lost to the number 7. Like, man, it is irking to understand how they do this. St. Joe's up to 16th. What's good?
But we can do this at 4 because Syracuse has beaten Hopkins and Duke head to head, and they handled Duke, and they beat Hopkins by 1.
Yeah.
So
man,
come at me. How is Q's Q's not number 2? Like I'll get off the Notre Dame hater hat for a minute because hands down Notre Dame deserves the number 1 ranking.
They really do, and when you look at like the losses, but now now Georgetown's 10th in the country, but like every other game bar I'd say the Ohio State game has been the exact result you would expect for them.
Oh yeah, except for maybe the Cornell. I don't know if I would have expected a 1-goal game with Cornell.
Okay, maybe you're right. Give it a 3 or 4 goal game.
Well, even that 2-goal separation with Cuse. If that had been a 2-goal game at Cornell, I would have agreed with you. I'd been like, yeah, but Cornell stepped up in that game, and I want to give them their flowers.
Right, you got to give them a little bit of a tip of your hat there. Man, the Kavanaugh brothers, 49, 47 points on the year.
Just
Look
ridiculous.
at you boys. So cute.
So
next closest at 32. Shout out Jake Taylor.
All right. Denver beating Georgetown this weekend helps them. I don't know. Yeah. I don't.
Like, Georgetown doesn't move after that loss.
Yeah. Well, Providence. I meant Providence.
Sorry, right?
Nope,
because that was 2
fault.
weekends ago.
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
So it pushes Denver to 4-0. They've got Marquette to end their season. But, like,
5-0 year.
If they don't win the Big East, do we still think they have a good enough resume?
If they don't win the Big East?
Yeah. Because I'm starting to look for bid stealers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there's a lot of teams that are going to deserve and have a case to be made for...
You know, I think they do. Because in theory, then, who's winning the Big East? Georgetown?
Hypothetically.
They have the regular season win over Georgetown. They've beaten Cornell and Hopkins.
Yeah, but they also
Their
have
losses are Yale
and Duke. Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
2-goal and 4-goal. Like,
but,
that's all right.
Who's that? I guess it would also depend who that loss is to in
the tournament.
In the tournament, whether that be Providence and the Fighting Bobby Bensons or Georgetown. So, like, that one's interesting. I was reading Dan Arestia, who runs Sticks in Lacrosse, and he's a contributor for IL and some other places. Super cool voice in the world of lacrosse.
Yeah.
I was reading his article that he has where he broke down all of the college lacrosse conference tournament scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And holy hell. Like, hats off to Dan Arestia for breaking this all down. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different scenarios in the ASUN alone.
Holy shit.
But scrolling on down to the Ivy, right? Because this one, I think, is where you could get a bid thief.
Mm-hmm.
Right? With how close they are. So the teams who are in, right? Automatic guarantee. Cornell, Yale, and Penn. The fight is between Princeton and somehow Brown. Harvard is out of it.
Harvard has lost it.
But the only way Brown can get in, they need to win their game, and then either Cornell or Dartmouth wins. As long as Yale wins as well, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Princeton wins, they're in, and they need to root for Harvard to beat Brown.
Yeah.
Every team who is sitting on a bubble right now needs to be hoping Princeton does not make the Ivies.
Mm-hmm.
And then they need to be rooting for, in some capacity, Penn to lose in the first round. Because I think those are the two teams out of the Ivy that could steal bids. I think Yale and Cornell kind of are both already locked in a way. But I think Princeton would need one more real good win, and Penn would need one
Yeah.
more real good win.
Yeah.
So, like, that one for me is going to be an interesting watch this weekend. Dear God, the Patriot League. The funny thing is you know all 6 teams in the Patriot League tournament, but none of them are seeded.
Yeah, you don't know who's playing who or where or any of that.
You don't even know where the tournament is yet.
Fair.
Because the winner of the top seed hosts the tournament. So until it gets seeded, they don't know who's hosting this tournament.
Yeah.
But you've got Army, Colgate, Lehigh, and Loyola, who are all 5-2, and BU and Navy are 4-3. I'm not going to read all the different ways this could end up.
You sure?
Army has 4 ways they could host. Loyola has 4 ways they could host. Colgate has 2. Oh, nope. Add another one to Army. And 3 more to Colgate. Jeez, this is nuts.
It's not. No,
this is
not happening.
Nuts. Like,
shout out Dan. He did the work. You guys can go read it if you want.
This only makes sense on actually being able to look at this. Like, I understand why he didn't talk about it on his podcast. The ACC, though, and the reason I kind of brought this all up, there are only 2 teams locked into the ACC tournament right now. Syracuse and Notre Dame. You've got UVA, Duke, and UNC fighting for those last 2 spots.
Why don't they just do first seed gets a bye like that? I guess because it doesn't really make it any. Then everyone's in, so conference play doesn't even matter. But you still have rankings and seedings. But like, ACC needs to figure it out and get another team, whether they steal Maryland back or they get Hopkins back somehow. But the ACC is too good to get bitched out of an AQ.
Well, but like, I would much rather see them bring in a Boston College or a Georgia Tech who has...
That would be great.
Who has proven on the MCLA level that they can play and recruit and get a lacrosse program at the school and keep it running for a long time. You give them D1 backing, how quickly could they catch up to these other ACC schools?
Good question.
But if so Syracuse is off this weekend. They have a bye going into the ACC tournament, which I think is fantastic scheduling from Gary Gate. But if Notre Dame beats UVA and Duke wins, it'll be Notre Dame, Q's, Duke, Virginia. If Notre Dame and North Carolina win, it'll be Notre Dame, Syracuse, Duke, UVA, North Carolina. This one is the cluster.
You just listed all 5.
Here you go. Because Duke, UVA, and UNC are now all tied at 1 and 3. They're all 1-1 against each other. They're all 0-1 against Notre Dame and Syracuse. The next tiebreaker is goal differential between teams. The best goal differential is the 3 seed, and then head-to-head winner between the other 2 gets the 4 seed. So it would depend on how their games go, but as of right now, Duke gets in at +6. UVA gets in at +2. If Virginia and Duke win, it's Notre Dame, Q's, Duke, Virginia. If Virginia and North Carolina win, it's Notre Dame, Q's, Virginia, North Carolina.
I would love that.
So my best case scenario is keeping Duke out of this just because...
Always.
Fuck Duke.
Always.
But like... I don't know after watching Notre Dame and North Carolina if Owen Duffy doesn't play, if it's worth having to... Like, I don't want to sacrifice amazing lacrosse just to stick it to Duke.
Yeah.
because Duke's pretty much a lock anyways. Like,
Yeah.
And if Owen Duffy's not playing like he didn't against Notre Dame, North Carolina's not all that interesting to me. I'm just going to be honest.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. But, no, I think... I don't know. This is...
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be absolutely insane. Like, I don't want to shove it to the squad because the selection committee, because there are going to be no right answers. You are going to piss somebody off who can make a very good case why their team should be in. No matter what, right? Because, heck, if Army doesn't make it in, I could make an excellent case for Army as an at-large bid.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, one of those things. And we can kind of
absolutely
get into that because Friday night, that Patriot League schedule is going to shake. It's going to shake out a little bit. Don't you worry. So we've got Colgate and BU starting us off at 6 o'clock. Loyola Army at 7. And then Lehigh Lafayette at 7:30. If I'm not mistaken, Bucknell.
Navy plays Bucknell at 7:30 as well.
Yeah, but I think they're both out already.
It seems like they might be. Navy's 4-3.
Yeah, so they're out.
Are they?
Yeah. So it's Colgate, Loyola, Army, BU, Lehigh, and Lafayette, I believe.
How is Lafayette's 2-5?
Oh, maybe not Lafayette then. Who's the one
It has
team
to be
I'm
Navy.
missing? No, it doesn't. Now I got
Lafayette and Bucknell are both 2-5, and Holy Cross is 0-8.
Oh, is it Navy?
Army, Cole, all 5-2. Boston U, Navy 4-3.
Oh, you said 3 and 4, so that's why I thought.
Did I?
Navy
My
was
fault.
out. You're good. You're good.
Fair
I
enough.
remembered. It was 4 5-2s, and 2 4-3s.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
Navy.
my fault.
All good. That Navy Bucknell game does matter.
Yeah.
So all of
For
those
Navy.
all of those games
Crazy.
will be decided Friday night. You also get the Big East shaking out because you've got Georgetown, Villanova, Providence,
Denver
St.
Marquette.
John's, and Denver Marquette. But on Friday, you're gonna have lacrosse from noon to 6, and I'm gonna have lacrosse from 3 to 9 p.m. So
Well, it starts at 9, so you'll have it till 10:30, 11.
yeah, leading us straight into Saturday, where I have a 10 a.m. game 2 hours away.
I saw this, and I always forget that these times are Eastern times, and I saw the 2 p.m. Virginia Notre Dame game, and I almost shat myself because that's when my game starts.
Oh,
It's okay. It starts at 11, so I can watch it.
yeah. So I'm gonna be getting back in my car and throwing college lacrosse on probably.
Hell yeah.
Depending on which of these 12 o'clock games I will be able to watch on ESPN Plus, because on my phone that's all I can watch.
I feel you.
But I think, the biggest 12 o'clock is going to be that North Carolina Duke game. Because honestly, if North Carolina finds a way into this tournament, they can really... their RPI can shoot up real quick if they're knocking off top 5 teams in this tournament somehow. I don't foresee that happening, but if it does, that throws this into quite a bit of a loop.
Yeah.
But the other big ones, always going to say this is a big game, but you've got Michigan, Ohio State. I don't think it actually has any seeding or importance, but it's a rivalry and they're going to play it as such. And then Yale Princeton, right?
I was about to say that one. That's going to be such a fun game. Princeton's trying to claw their way back into some recognition. Obviously, maybe a year or two early on them. They got some superstar freshmen,
Yeah. Well, and
but
then
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
what can Matt Brandau do to try to get inch his way closer or further away from the rest of the pack as the NCAA all-time points getter? Like he's one behind Rob Pennell for goals in Ivy history or points in Ivy history.
Wow.
Like he's got a couple of big milestones that he could hit in this game.
How close is Lyle? No, Lyle doesn't hold it anymore, right?
I don't think so. I don't remember. I'd have to look, to be honest.
Yeah.
Records aren't my thing. So, but I know he's close to breaking a few. So,
Yeah.
Then, yeah, 2 p.m. on ESPNU, you've got that Virginia Notre Dame game. And if Virginia can pull this upset.
Which, we've had, we talked about did we? We must have. You know that Duke has beaten, the last time Virginia beat Duke in the regular season was in 2000. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. But on the flip side, I feel like not since 2004, but the last couple of years, and at least I remember having this discussion last year when we had Virginia, Notre Dame, and Duke, Virginia's had Notre Dame's number a little bit in the regular season the last couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, they won 12-8 last year. And then 15-10 last year. They won.
And last year, I mean, obviously, Notre Dame won it all.
Yeah.
So
they won 12-8 and 22. They won in 21. They probably didn't play in 2020. No, they did not. Shocker.
Yeah, wait, what?
They beat them twice in 2019.
We lost to them in 2017, it looks like. Yeah, lost to them twice in 2017.
And twice in 2018.
Or, sorry, that's what I meant to say, 2018.
Yeah,
I did not look at 17. Let's find out. Oh, 8-7 in 2017. God damn, good thing we're good again. Lost 10-11. Yeah, so since 2019 and forward, Virginia has very much had Notre Dame's number.
Yeah.
Which, I think is huge. Virginia is also, not anymore. Because now it's been 2 in a row. But they were something in like 24-0 or something like that after a loss under Lars Tiffany. There was some crazy stat that they hadn't lost 2 games in a row for a long time. I heard the announcers mentioned it in the game this past weekend. Unfortunately, that has obviously changed, but I'm down to start a new streak.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're going to have a Notre Dame week coming off of what was a pretty cruise win. And what I can only imagine is going to be a very pissed off Virginia team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm sure Schellenberger, Cormier, these older guys, Cole Kastner, Matt Nunes, these older guys are going to be pissed off, and they're going to come out looking to go after and beat this Notre Dame team.
Yeah.
I'm also excited for the matchup of these extendo poles versus the Kavanaughs.
Yeah. I like that. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, anytime you see an attack go up against Virginia right now, you kind of have to be like, well, never really played against a defense like this. Let's see what's going to happen. Because, not super often you go 6'7", 6'6", 6'5" as your starting defense.
Nope.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Checks out that Cole Kastner wants to try and go play basketball next year.
Yeah, I heard that. Good for him. He's trying to take the
Pat
Spencer out. Got some run. So we are 12 days away from the PLL draft.
Ah, that's just seems so early.
Right? Like these kids are still playing games, folks. But
And not only that, that's in the middle of conference tournaments.
yeah,
If they've like even started.
but the way the PLL does it is cool because nobody's there, right?
Yep.
So like everybody sits with their teammates in the room watching on ESPNU, you know,
Yeah.
because you remember a lot of I've seen a lot of those videos when number ones went and like the one when was it Brett Makar last year or 2 years ago when he went and you just saw the Maryland locker room erupt for
Yeah.
him. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a super cool way.
Yeah.
And like just having all 8 of the GMs sitting there, like they've got their notes, but like there's no war room. It's, hey, who do you want to play for you? All right, I want this guy,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I am more and more jumping on the train that Brendan O'Neill isn't going number 1.
Yeah, which you mentioned, we wanted to talk about that. I could see that, but do you see him running midfield? He's so physically dominant coming out of the box in the PLL where you're going to have pulls that are going to be able to match up against him.
No, I don't. And that's why I think that the Outlaws are going to draft Shelley.
I'm about it. Let's get that kid as close to the West Coast as we fucking can. I will snag the shit out of an Outlaws Shelley jersey.
But like, he fits their need. They've got
Yeah,
Logan Wisnauskas.
They need someone to run their team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because you look at what happened for them when they had Brendan Nickturn, who was quarterbacking that offense. Right. I think
that was the one year they were like number ones in the regular season and dominated.
I know they have a lot of needs. But could you imagine if the Outlaws this year got Schellenberger and TJ Malone to run with Wisnauskas?
Were you just crossing off Cross Ferreira? See what I did there?
I see what you did there. Now Cross can
Shout
still
out D3 Salisbury.
Cross can still run out of the box. It's fine.
Yeah.
Ooh, CJ Curse.
We've had this discussion, I think, a little bit.
CJ Curse is a tough one for me because like I get that he's real good. I am not.
But again, there's only 8 lefty attackmen in the league.
Well, and the thing about it is right now he's not even
in the top 10 for Kark and stuff, like any of them.
But like he's not the top scorer on his own team. Michael
Oh
Long
my god, is he really? Wow.
So like
points, goals, all the above, does he lead in anything?
Let me double check just so I give accurate numbers.
Hurst has way more goals. He has 41 and 18. Michael Long is 26 and 34.
So I could see
he's only down by 1 point.
but still, like if we talked about Schellenberger getting a little bit of pull from the Tewaaraton because of him being on teams with great guys, right? So like you got to talk about it for Curse too. Honestly, I would see the Cannons as the most likely fit in terms of lefty attackmen. They're a little bit older there. They've got Charlon Beatties. They could run him out of the box for a few years.
And you're also only saying that because they have 2 of his older brothers.
I think that matters in the PLL.
I couldn't agree more.
I honestly
I am fully agreeing with
you. That was something that I did take into account. I think that matters. I think that I don't think the attack is going to be as jump off the page, right? I think those top 3, I think Kavanaugh, Brennan O'Neill, and Schellenberger, those guys are going to go super early. But then I see a run on some of those other positions where there aren't that many guys because they don't want one of the other teams to get them.
Sure.
I could see a guy like Jake Pacino going a little bit earlier, right? Because you really want a pole who can push, right? Like
who can push and can guard anyone anywhere. He's played
except
close.
Matt Brandau.
He's played up like Oh shit.
No, he was getting picked off all day against Brandau. So, but like, let's see. Let me pull up. I'm gonna go back into
Atlas or round 2 pick or the second pick.
Mister
I
Mister
1000% see them taking O'Neal.
Who?
The Atlas?
Do you?
You don't?
Think about it. Where does
I don't
Brennan
remember
O'Neill
their
play?
roster.
We talked about it earlier this episode. Who's their lefty?
Who is the Atlas's lefty? Oh, Teat, duh.
Yeah.
That guy.
Um,
Yeah, but the Atlas also just seems like the team that would take him. So you think he's gonna fall to 3? Whip Snakes might make sense.
I'm saying there's a chance. And
fair enough.
honestly, I'm reading Dan Arestia's mock draft right now, and he doesn't have Cursed going.
Undrafted? Like not getting drafted at all, or not getting drafted in the first round?
Not in the first 2 rounds.
Wow.
The Water Dogs, Frosty, they pick late in the first round. So I think it will depend on who picks before them, but I could see them going after a guy like Jake Stevens or a guy like Bo Pedersen, right? That Ian McKay mold of two-way midfielder, can handle himself on both ends, can play off face-off wings. I think I could see them going there, that route. They don't honestly have a lot of holes that need to be filled. So it will be, what do we want to see? If it's not one of...
Who's that for the Water Dogs? Sorry.
I had somebody like a two-way midi, a Jake Stevens, a Bo Pedersen,
Definitely. I mean, they have Conrad.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of mold and build. I could also maybe see them.
Jeff Conrad.
I could maybe see them taking finally a face-off guy.
Oh, Mikey, still listed as out. You better be fucking get your shit together this week.
Right?
This year.
Hashtag the return of Mikey Schlosser.
I'll be return of arguably definitely the nicest person in the PLO.
Undoubtedly.
Like not even close.
Yeah,
so Fogo could be good. They have James Riley right now. Could definitely see them taking a Fogo.
So here's a name for you. Stathicus, right? The Fogo for Denver. Tierney's back.
Yeah.
Tierney is now coaching the Water Dogs. Does Tierney go after the guy he's been relying on for the past 6 years at Denver and say, hey, Stathicus, you already know what I expect out of a face-off guy, and pull that draft pick in like the second round? So, yeah, I mean,
Atlas only... Oh, go ahead.
Dan Arestia has the Water Dogs taking Bo Pedersen in the first round, and then Graham Bundy from Georgetown in the second. I could see it, but I think a face-off guy in the second makes more sense, and Bo Pedersen, Jake Stevens, those types of guys in the first make sense too. What about the Atlas?
They only have 2 listed attackmen. Rostered attackmen.
Teat and who?
Eric Law. Shout out E-Law still playing, man.
Right?
Teat's 27?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He's as old as Dougie Jameson.
Yeah. Yeah, for whatever reason though, like Xander Dixon is listed as a midfielder for them. Dylan Malloy is on their roster. Let's go. And as a midfielder. It feels like Dylan Malloy was in college like 10 years before Jeff Teat, but Dylan Malloy's 28 and Jeff Teat's 27. So there's 2 traditionally attackmen who are in at the midfield, and they have 2 picks in the first round.
So the Atlas are gonna be interesting, right? because
Yeah.
correct.
Guess who are state? Guess who Dan has the Atlas taking at number 2?
I saw. 27, 28 isn't super old in lacrosse. Um, I mean, there's multiple players in the PLL and the NLL right now who are over 40 and still
Oh,
going.
100%.
Still going. Um,
27 is not old at all, and I feel like Teet's only been in the PLL for 2 years, 3 years.
yeah, that's because you COVID guys came out of college at like 27, like you were going to BYU.
Hey, at least I came out of college then and didn't go to the army and then come back to college so I could beat up on kids 10 years younger than me.
Hey, don't be hating. Don't fight a war if you can't win.
Oh, Matt Rambo. How am I just like, wow.
This
I
happened.
really just, for whatever reason, didn't click in my head that Rambo's a lefty. What?
Yeah.
I always thought he was a righty who was just like ambidextrous.
Well, how do you think he plays with Zed Williams?
Well, the Whipsnakes aren't going to take him because they have Rambo and Will Manny. Another dude, he looks like he's like saw a Death Eater last night. They need to get him a better freaking picture on there. That is brutal.
So yeah, that number 3 pick is interesting to me, because
what did Don say? Oh, Dan said Cav, which,
but like
yeah, because he's the next best guy. But like, you have Will Manny, Matt Rambo, and Zed Williams, and Jackson Morrill.
who do they have? Who's the Whipsnakes keeper right now?
We have Kyle Bernlohr and Brendan Krebs. I think they're probably set. Krebs
But is that
Bernlohr's now 31.
Bernlohr and as a goalie, those balls start hurting more and more the older you get.
Yep.
Right.
And Krebs, I think, I think they like him and he's really good. He's also 6'5", but I don't know if they are fully bought in on him.
Plus, you're gonna have Mark and Entenmann sitting there.
Yeah. Staring you in the face.
So,
yeah.
like, are you gonna go pure talent or are you gonna go for need?
Mm-hmm. Garrett Ledman looks like he should be surfing, not playing lacrosse. Which, a lot of crossover. But like his picture on the bio he's cheesing so hard, it's very funny. The only dude on this team whose teeth you see in their picture.
The Chaos taking Stevens at 4 is interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, they have, I don't know what hand meniscus is, but their attack, I don't know. If one of those other attackmen are on the board, Josh Byrne, Chris Cloutier, decent chance neither one of them decide to play.
Klutz, I'd agree with. Byrne really likes the outdoor game. I don't see Byrne.
And what about Ty Kurtz? Sorry to interrupt you. Where do you stand on him? Another Canadian.
He, I would bet, is more willing to go play box in Canada. But
this is 3 of your 4 listed attack.
But this is his first season playing in the PLL, so maybe he
didn't play last year.
I think he played in like 2 games.
Okay. Well, but that's all right. There's your 4 attack. You also have Jules Hendenberg coming out of the box. Their Chaos offense right now is looking light.
And that, I mean, they do also have. So can we also realize that a guy by the name of Sergio Perkovic is listed as a D-mid?
True.
And Ian McKay.
True. And Ian McKay.
Ian McKay goes both ways pretty steadily.
Yes, that is very true. But if one of those big name attackmen aren't sitting there, especially a lefty, even kind of cursed. Like, I don't know.
But here's the thing you're forgetting, right? If they need offense, they'll just pull Blaze out of cage and shove him down there.
You're right. I forgot about the LSG, the long stick goalie. That is my fault. Good Lord, the frickin' Redwood have a lot of attackmen.
Thank you, John Grant Jr.
Westberg still balling.
But like,
Ryder Garnsey, goat.
I could see the chaos. Maybe they do go get a Matt Brandau.
Yeah.
Because
Well, like you look at they need someone I feel like that. Brandau, TJ Malone.
Yeah, I mean, so Minikis is the quarterback though. That's the thing.
But I think you can get an upgrade from him with the pick that you have in this draft.
I mean, he was a finalist for the Rookie of the Year last year.
I'm okay. I still think there's guys who are better.
It's fair. But I mean, if you're running an attack line of Ty Kurtz, Minikis, and Josh Byrne, I'm okay with them going and getting, a Jake Stevens who's going to be another transition, push the tempo type of midfielder.
And you can you have Hennenberg, who is was originally an attack.
Yeah. Right? You've got, and so was Kyle Jackson and
Will Perry even maybe too.
That's what I was going to say. Right, so you've got these guys, and then you've got McKay.
Sorry, Kyle Jackson looks like and is arguably the whitest name ever, and he looks very white, but he's Haudenosaunee. Shout that out according to his little flag. That's sick.
Yeah, he kind of has the Lars Tiffany relationship with the Haudenosaunee. He grew up very, very close to the reservation. I believe his parents helped out. I don't know if he lived on the reservation, but he played there and stuff.
Awesome.
So I don't know, that 4 pick is interesting. The Atlas having 2 and 5 gives them so much freedom. But I will also say the Redwoods won that deal with Chris Gray going to the Redwoods.
They have so many. But Westberg, Garnsey, Chris Gray, Rob Pannell. You can't go wrong with those 4.
Well, and I mean, so looking at the Redwoods and that you could run Westberg out of the box as kind of a pure O-mid.
This is only 28. I'm so confused. I thought he was 32 for
Who?
Romar Dennis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he's still young.
Ricky Miezon's going to make some noise next year. Dude is a linebacker.
Well, the fact that they have him listed, their defensive midfield is 6'3", 6'1", 6'1", 6'2".
How does... And then their deep pulls are 6'2", 6'1", 6'4", but Chris Fake doesn't have a headshot.
I'm about that. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Exactly. I'm kind of about it.
I'm excited to see how this defense changes a little bit.
You think Redwoods look at taking Marker Entenmann?
I think they'll try to take whoever's left in the second round.
Yeah. I mean, they have one goalie rostered right now.
Do you see who Orestia has them taking?
I'm about to find out. When I get there.
It's the most John Grant Jr. pick you could think of.
Hell yeah, PC. That would just... But, Dan, that doesn't make any sense.
For those who aren't reading along with us, they're taking Peyton Cormier, left-handed Canadian attackman out of UVA.
What are the chances Ryan Lee and Alex Simmons don't play field this summer? I don't remember the name Alex Simmons or Ryan Lee for that matter. Well,
Alex
Ryan
Simmons was the Syracuse guy who then went to Denver and tore it up last year.
Canadians at Denver, what you gonna do?
Right. Ryan Lee has been hurt on and off. For the past
he's still listed
2
as
years.
out right now.
So I don't know about Lee. I would imagine Simmons comes down and plays in the PLL. I could be wrong.
How many more years do you think we see Rob Pannell play, man? I don't think them taking an attackman makes sense.
No, I do not either.
Talking Sorry.
Honestly, if they're gonna take one, I could also see them taking CJ Kirst. They've got Cole.
Yeah, but I mean, and again to that Cannons point as well. Like the Cannons have to have two of them. I'm curious as to what the reigning champs are gonna do. That last overall pick in the first round. I like Brett Dobson. He's obviously just won them a championship. He's only 24. Will Mark and Liam Entum are both better than that. Ooh, they have him taking Ajax. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, oh god, and you pair Ajax with those with those Canadians down low.
With all three Canadians.
I mean, realistically, it's going to be Ajax trying to hold the leashes of all three of them from just murdering people routinely.
Honestly, though, and they have Connors. Jared Connors is their LSM. I forgot. Oh my god. This is why this is my favorite team, guys.
You want to know?
Shout out Granament.
It doesn't make sense, but I want to see Pacino just backed up by all of those large beefy Canadians.
That and then getting to run and gun with this offense too. Ooh. That would be nasty.
Honestly. He'll go both. Yeah, no, don't need a midfielder.
Well, I mean, when you have Granament and Trey Leclerc listed as midfielders, you know they're pretty set offensive.
Yeah.
Connor Fields, Matt Moore, Mac O'Keefe is a terrifying and insanely young attack line.
Yeah, they honestly, I don't know where I'd go.
I like the Ajax pick.
Have a good one, Rolk. Thanks for coming by, dude. Appreciate you. Go give Rolkbuster88 a follow. I talk pro wrestling on Thursday nights with him.
Do it.
Yeah, no, Ajax makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Oh, Dan Arestia did pick TJ Malone at the first pick of the second round to pair him and Shelly up.
Which, yeah, it's funny going to the Denver thing and it's just all chrome jerseys.
Yeah.
And like a couple from trades. Yeah, you know, right now their attack is Logan Wisnauskas, Dylan Gergnar, I don't remember him, Cross Ferrara, who stormed onto the scene last year out of Salisbury, D3, showing that there are very, very good players at every level, and Connor G. Simone, who I've never been the biggest fan of. Like, obviously he's a very good player, but a Schellenberger and a Malone or a big midi even, they have Justin Anderson, Sam Hanley, Jesse King, and Mike Myers. Jack Myers. That is 4 players listed on offense.
So I also think that is because a guy like a Ryan Tarafinko and a Will Haas and a Mike Messenger will take runs as well. But
yeah,
my thing is the top pick of that second round may be an interesting spot for a goalie. Because if you look at, like...
You're not a fan of big old Sean Scanoni?
I don't mind him.
Exactly.
But I don't think he's a game changer. Whereas a guy like a Will Mark or a Liam Entoman could be. You know?
Wait, have they?
Like, he was 52.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
52% last year. So I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but like... Yeah, I don't know.
Their defense is also fairly old. Bernhardt 33 and Manley at 35. And they don't have a listed face-off guy. Connor Farrell is not on the roster.
That is That is interesting.
Very interesting. They have 3 LSMs. Shout out Nick Grill, who I think and I'm assuming is BJ Grill's
Brother.
brother.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's a handful bit younger than him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out BJ over at MC.
I mean, you
Doing
do
great
have. You could go and get. I mean, AJ Pilot comes to mind, but he's gonna have military service. So like a Bobby Van Buren if he's gone, a Will Brower from Duke, a Marcus Hudgens, um,
Yeah.
one of those types. I'm now reading about who they think they should sign in the off like after draft who they should bring in, and they have the Cannons either bringing in Dobson or Degnan, getting a big lefty outside guy in that offense.
Oh.
I love that.
I mean, but if they take Kirsch, that is a lefty.
That's true. I mean, it's going to depend, but I think the cool thing is we've got a lot of ways teams could go and they get to build, and we get to then see how and where that takes the teams. Like,
And the Cannons have a lot of deep balls.
yeah, they do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They carry 8, and I thought what's her faces carried a lot with 7. Jeez.
But no, I think so. You've got league playoffs tonight and tomorrow, or tonight.
Tonight and Friday.
Tonight and Friday.
Yeah, we got Piedmont tonight, 7:15. And then Friday it'll be at like 5 something, which is annoying. Yeah, and then NCS next week.
Whoop, whoop. Well, tune in next week to find out the fate of the O'Dowd team. I've got a couple more. I've got one more this Saturday. So we get to get out there and try to be the best team in program history. So that's pretty cool. But
Hell yeah.
I think that's going to about do it for us, unless there's anything else you had, Maxwell.
Yeah. I don't think so. A lot of fun lacrosse to watch this weekend. Go watch some NLL. We were texting about that during that Rochester game on Sunday, which was awesome. Yeah, go enjoy spring as it's coming and watch some lax. There's so much good lacrosse out there right now. It's a plethora.
Yeah, on TV, go catch a live game if you can, and if there's one in your area. I know MCLA is having some West Coast playoffs are starting pretty soon.
Definitely are.
College conference tournaments are going to be popping up, so go watch some live local lacrosse as well as tuning in on ESPN, and it's a great time of year. So really,
yes, sir.
Watch some lacrosse. Go out and play. Watch lacrosse. Play lacrosse. Do all those things. Follow us. We are on the climb. 36 days. We're looking to get to 41 followers. 50 followers. 41 more. Something like that. I don't know. I can't read. We're 48% there.
There we go.
So, yeah. Follow us at Maxed Out Lax Pod on Instagram and YouTube. You can find them in the Discord, where the link is always in bios, and we will put one out before we leave. And just, remember, love each other and lax on. So
Lax on. Don't get maxed out.
bam.
Bangers.